I started here in 1970. It was my job to start the New Albany Vocational Center. When I started, they were doing the site preparation. They had not started construction on the building, so I had to supervise the building and buy the equipment, hire the staff, and recruit the students. The first thing that came up was the name. Everywhere throughout the state, similar buildings were called VOTEC, or vocational technical centers. And I said, we don't teach anything technical. We only teach vocation. So this is going to be the New Albany Vocational Center.
The students that I had basically decided, had they rather go the architectural route or the machine route. And I had some that went one direction and some that went the other. So we as a school and as a teacher, we had to just give them all we thought in either one of those vocations that they might be able to use when they got out of school. We drew a lot of houses. It was approximately 1,200 square feet and 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. We drew a lot of those because that's what people could afford back then.
You have all these wonderful experiences with students. When you have high school students working with preschoolers, I remember back when we had 3-hour blocks. We had 3 periods, and they stayed with me 3 periods. They cooked the lunch for the children. They did the activities. So I enjoyed getting to have both groups together. High school students are a lot like preschoolers. They want to play, they want to have fun, and you have an opportunity to let them do that.
And I was in her 3-year-old program here. So back then, our child care was here. So now we have pre-K that's at the elementary school. But at that time, the pre-K was here. And so I began my educational career here at what everybody called the VOTEC back then. And so I was not a big fan of school at that time. I wanted my mother, and so I cried a lot, and Miss Ashmore was very patient with me, and I tried some antics to get to go home at times, and those never worked. She would just always come up with another way for me to get to stay. And talking along those lines, some of my former students, I went to Facebook this week and asked, what are you doing? If I taught you, what class were you in? Because I've had a lot of different names for my classes through the years. This is my 25th year here, and so when we started talking about this, another teacher said, well, you've been here half the time the center has been open, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I was looking back and some of the comments, and I've got, several business owners, which I taught them in business class. I have one student who owns her own salon in town and is now opening a cosmetology school in town. I have another student who owns a business she's just started this and left another career to come and do this business, and so it's really neat. I actually have another student who owns another cosmetology school, and she took this class and said, I know I want to be a cosmetologist, but I know I want to own my own business. So it's really neat to see the skills that they have learned here and get to watch them, and then they've come back to our community and are spreading that around for everybody else to see too.
I came here, we were the only vocational center in the Northeast Mississippi Community College District that did not have an allied health program, and our health occupations program. That's what I think is what it's called at the time. And even though Union County had the largest hospital in the Northeast District, there was no program here. And with the little cooperation with Northeast, and we started some Northeast classes here at the vocational center, and we actually started some allied health programs, allied health classes from community college, and that was basically the beginning of Northeast at New Albany.
Well, it's changed a lot more technical than it was even when I was here, 94 through 01. But still the skills that students learn in any of these career technical classes, no matter what walk of life they go, those skills will follow them. When a student walks out there into industry, they're going to say, what can you do? They don't care what you made on a state test. They want to know what you can do. And that's what we do over here in Career Tech. We teach skills that a student can go out and be a tax-paying citizen.
One of the biggest skills is the leadership skills and the being a part of a team. And those things and the group activities that you do in career technical education that you don't really get in some of the academic side is, they build that team building skills and the leadership skills. I wouldn't be sitting here today, and I think I was pretty successful myself, and these guys are too. And you heard, I think, a common theme. It's been leadership.
A lot of funny stories we could tell about the ag class. We did everything. He would take us to the creeks. We would be talking about something in class, and Mr. Hartley would just say, let's go, y'all, come on. And we just load up in a bus. Next thing you know, we were wading in a creek somewhere, or we were out in some farmer's field, and I don't even know that we knew these people. We just stopped on the side of the road, went out there, and we're looking in the field at whatever we were talking about. It was always something fun.
We built the concession stand out at the football field. You may have seen that. We also laid the pads, concrete pads for the track down at what used to be the old baseball field. And by the way, we took the old baseball field down, the big wall, monster wall that was there. We built the swinging sound system that's over in the auditorium right now. Most people don't know that. The jet airplane that you see over by the Junior ROTC, we constructed and painted that, put it up, and we're proud of that. We helped a lot in the athletics. We built the lockers for the football field, for the basketball over at the middle school. Also, we did the lockers, athletic lockers at Ingomar School and also at Myrtle School. And for about 10 years, we built houses down in the Hall Neely subdivision. Mr. Buddy Holder got that started with Union Lumber Company. We had a joint agreement with them. Some of the other things that I really enjoyed was being involved in our club. We started out at calling it VICA, Vocational Industrial Clubs of America, and then they changed that name to Skills USA somewhere along the line. But I was very fortunate. I was 2-time Advisor of the Year. I don't remember but one year that we did not have a state winner. We did build the Learning Center out on front where we poured the concrete. And I'll tell you, it's kind of a funny thing. And the students wanted me to write my name in that concrete, and I did.
I have a young lady that here in New Albany that a former student that has her own business called the Cake Lady. She worked at Sugary's Bakery for several years, and now she's kind of branched off on her own. She does not have a brick and mortar business yet, but I'm sure in some time in the near future she will. First things that struck me as odd when I walked in this building was the wavy hall. That was seemed a bit unusual. I could just visualize students on their skateboards going down that hallway, and fortunately I never caught anybody doing it, but I'm not surprised if it actually happened.
Well, I see those former students at the grocery store, at Walmart, and they'll remember the time that they were here, and they thank me. And even parents will come up to me, and I've helped some with geometry and algebra, and they will thank me, and they said, my child would have never been able to graduate if you had not helped them with their classes. Here at the Career and Technical Center have really advanced the classes, and y'all have really done a good job preparing students for the world of work and for college too, because as those go to college, as they go to trade schools, as they go to community colleges, y'all are doing a great job preparing them.
In 1994, I started the Allied Health program, which is now the Health Science program here at the New Albany Vocational Center. When I started the Health Science program, or the Allied Health program as it was back in 1994, We did a lot of, well, everything was done on pen and paper. We had to go out to business and industry and get them involved. Now today, I think they're more involved because they understand. April and we're piloting a work-based learning program or embedded learning. So business and industry has been very good to respond to us to come. Like I've already had a couple of guys to come in to check off my students. I'm sure April has. We're having, doing a lot more guest speakers, going out to clinical sites more than we were in the earlier part of the program. So we are getting more involved with business and industry.
I think they finally see it as a recruitment, and this is the future.
Yes, I do too.
And these students have already had a good foundation laid for them, and they're the ones that's going to be the future healthcare providers, and they want to recruit them because they're going to be the best.
When I was at the Career and Technical Center, I took the original Wigington, Mr. Wig, so not the current Wigington, but it was his father, and I believe it was 10th and 11th grade, took drafting and had a lot of fun memories in that class. We would go a week without an object lesson or anything like that. He'd say, go do your project and get back to me. So it was on our own pace. And when I look back at that, I say, okay, that's my life right now. My life is at my own pace. I have my projects all scattered out, and I have to get them in a certain time. So in a way, drafting taught me to time myself for any individual project at my own pace. I knew it had to get done or the grades were going to suffer. And so that's one thing I remember about drafting, being so disciplined, but not disciplined. One thing that's special about my experience here at the Vocational Center, the Career and Technical Center now, is when I look back, it's kind of come to a new point where I am designing. I actually get to design things for the school. The school hired me several years ago to do web development for the school website system, and that has grown into smaller projects about, banners or signage or logos and things like that. And so now I get to come back and do some work for the CTE and kind of dream up some new things. And the school has been wonderful to let that kind of run its own course. It is a place where the imagination of the student can really come alive. It's not so rigid that they are just, okay, do the job, do the course, do the thing. It is like, here's what we're doing, now what can you put into it? If there's one thing that I can say about CTE and what it means for this community is the innovation and the opportunity for students that come to CTE, it's a leg up, it's an advantage. And I think when a student comes here, they are surrounded by teachers and by curriculum and by things that are going to give them that advantage when they enter the job, even if they specialize in a profession. If they go to a professional school, whether they go to work immediately after school, there are things here that they will take with them for a lifetime and that they will use in everyday life and on the job.
While I was teaching, I was also the FFA advisor. As my student group here at the Career and Tech Center had several students go through that program. I think the biggest thing about that is, makes me old, but now seeing those students in leadership positions. I got Will Tucker, who's on the city council now, went through my class. Margie Kelly, he was over, has done a lot with Ducks Unlimited, and now he's at CDF and Tupelo Community Development Foundation. You got Matthew Kimbrough, who is at Mississippi Land Bank and doing really well with that. And just seeing those young men come through, as well as all my students, and grow and develop and become leaders in the community and do new things is a really good experience. It makes it worthwhile. We had a big problem with water coming in the front door. It used to flood the front door all the time. And so you talk about people working together. My class, Mr. Mackin's class, Kevin Wiggins' class, and Jalen Bullett's classes all got together, and we finally decided we were going to solve that problem one day. And so the ditch that actually goes from the front porch of the Career and Tech Center back towards the high school was a student project that our 4 classes did together. Mr. Wiggs, Kevin's class, he drew it out, drafted it. My class went through, did the landscaping, or not the landscaping, but the elevation of it, shot all that, got it pegged down. Mr. Mackin's class came out there, framed it up, poured the concrete, set all that, and then Mr. Bullett's classes helped in with all those classes. So it was 4 classes working there for about a week to 2 weeks at a time together to build that, get it ready. And sure enough, we didn't have to walk through water anymore to get in the building, so that was one of the fun activities. And I think that's why a lot of students came over here to the career and tech classes, is because the teaching staff, no matter who it was, would make it interesting for the students and provide a different perspective on the classroom setting and on what we're doing there. And a lot of times we take feedback from the students and apply that and use it towards our lessons and what we did.
My hours at the VOTEC were my favorite hours of my day, and if I could have taken 5 more classes, I would have. The time that I spent here was definitely the highlight of my day, and if I could go back and take more, I would. I feel like the things that I learned at the VOTEC impacted me more, especially in college, and just kind of developing my professional life. I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school, and I feel like without the VOTEC, I may not have figured it out. I had a lot of friends that knew, you know, from their freshman year, they knew, I want to be a teacher, or I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a policeman, or whatever it may be. And I use the VOTEC as my place to really experiment and find my path. It seemed like when you walked through the doors of the VOTEC, there was a different vibe. Like the students that were at the vocational center were here because they wanted to be here. They were interested in the classes they were taking, and that's why they were taking them. Nobody was forcing them to take a certain math class or a certain English class. This is what they were interested in. So you could tell the students were here to learn more about what they were passionate about. So when you joined those clubs, it just seemed like you were with your people more so than, you know, some of the other clubs and extracurricular activities that you can get involved with.
Culinary classes at the New Albany VOTEC prepared me very much for the culinary classes at Northeast Community College. Miss Anita really helped teach me to not be so hard on myself and allow for mistakes, because in the mistakes comes the learning opportunities. If you're perfect all the time, there's no room for growth. My favorite memories from the culinary class here at the VOTEC was the Pro Start competitions. I competed in them in both junior and senior year, and Miss Aliff put together a team, and we practiced cooking a 3-course meal, appetizer, entree with sides, and dessert. We had to prepare it in under an hour, and we traveled to Jackson, and we had to bring all of our equipment, all of our ingredients, and we cooked live like they do on the cooking shows on the Food Network, and we had to present it to judges, and we were judged on our teamwork and our communication, and of course the food, how it tasted, how it looked.
I applied all the things that I learned in VCT in college. You know, I went in knowing how to do all the things on the computer that we needed to do, and before I bought Bankhead Flower Shop, I was a teacher for 10 years, so I used some of the things that I learned, like as far as communication, and even some of the things that Miss Moore did. I used that when I was teaching, so it was all the things that I learned were very helpful and benefited me in both careers. So my biggest takeaways from the class and from being in FBLA was that we were able to get involved. Like, I was somebody that was not athletic. I did not, I was not involved in sports, but I could thrive in this class, like being creative and like working with others. It gave me a way to be a part of a team. Like this class and FBLA felt like kind of my club, my team, my sport. So that gave me an outlet, and it gave me something to get involved in and feel like I was good at that. So I think that's something really cool about the VOTEC. There is something here for everybody, for people that aren't necessarily good at sports or at cheerleading or at the band. You can be good here because there's something for everybody here.
I chose to go for the EMT paramedic route, and HOSA, I competed in that also as an EMT in the EMT competition, and
it really influenced me because it was really cool to see how every situation can be different, how sometimes you have to improvise, you don't always have everything there, and the competition really was an eye-opener for me, and like how many opportunities there were out there. My favorite times were in Miss April's class. Like, we were all the time pulling pranks on each other. All the different projects we did, we got to come in and like do all these scenarios, and like the skills and stuff we did, we like got to cut up and really make it amusing.
I took Ms. Bynum's engineering class my sophomore and junior year for engineering 1 and 2. It has very much prepared me not only in the safety aspect of the workplace, but she also prepared me in learning about DC drives, DC motors, and building and programming robots. It has very much prepared me for what I do because all of that applies to what I do in the workplace today. I've also found myself referring back to my engineering notebook for projects that I do now and projects that I will be doing in the future.
I would highly recommend it, or any of the other VOTEC classes, to any of the students in the county schools that are interested in taking it. I think it's a really good opportunity that we have, and not enough people really take advantage of it. For me, the drafting class really helped give me a jump start into some of my college coursework, being exposed to the way engineering documents are drawn out, plans and part diagrams. I have a blueprint for a house that I've made at the end of my second year with a floor plan and foundation, front elevation and everything. But I have a whole floor plan, and with electrical, it's got everything a contractor would need to build the house from scratch.
To early childhood education for many reasons. One of those reasons being I wanted to become the best mother that I could be. Another one of those reasons being to help influence younger generations coming up behind me. One of the main things that I feel I have learned and taken from the course is developmentally appropriate milestones that I'm currently utilizing in my 10-month-old little girl's life now.
I graduated from New Albany in 2011, where I took early childhood education. I found myself wanting to be a leader and helping contribute to others growing up and being successful in some sort of way. 11 years down the road, here I am in the military, still finding ways to provide leadership through purpose, direction, and motivation. One of the big takeaways that I can say that early childhood education taught me today was being able to look out for others and ensuring that you can provide the necessary needs that they need, that they instill their trust in you.
One of the key classes that I took at the vocational center was drafting. I took several years of drafting. It was a key and foundational class for my development as an engineer, and ultimately was the first of a few stepping stones that got me to where I am today as a flight controller for the International Space Station. Drafting was the first class that really challenged me outside of what I would say a normal classroom experience was like. Drafting was very independent driven. It was very, you learn at your own pace. It was more work-esque than assignment-esque. So having that independence and then being challenged by the content was very different for me at that time. Really being able to look at mechanical or architectural drawings and then develop those drawings.
I'm so thankful for my years here at the CTE building because it helps me in my job that I'm doing now. If I had not been in this building, I would not truly know and understand how important CTE education is to our students, to our community, and to our state. Right now, I'm doing a lot of things in my job with workforce development. If I had not been here at the CTE Center, I could sit here and act like and say I know about that stuff, but now I truly know about how important workforce development is for our students, for our community, and it's making me a better assistant superintendent. It made me a better principal when I was a principal at the high school.
Here in North Mississippi, there are a lot of great industry here, and for the career and technical here to have the opportunity to provide opportunities for students to be able to leave high school or with a certification and go right into those jobs and maybe save some money on college and not go into their lives in debt. The Career and Technical Center here does an awesome job at that.
As I'm reflecting on, how the center began and where we are now, I just wanted to share some things that make me the most proud. I know when the center started in the 71-72 school year, it started with 200 students. Due to the investment of both New Albany School District and Union County School District, along with the extreme dedication of our faculty and staff, this year we have a record enrollment of 498 students who are in our Year 1 and Year 2 programs. Then when you combine that with our enhancement classes and our computer science programs, we have over 700 students that benefit from career and technical education here on the New Albany High School campus every single day. I know I talked a little bit about, where we started, where we are now. And when you look over the past 50 years of career and technical education in the New Albany School District, I can personally see a lot of growth and a lot of change, a lot of adaptation, but through it all, our main purpose is to meet the needs of the students that we serve and the community that we serve.
It was like a family here when we first started. Like Bill said, all of the instructors had previous work experience, and we thought it was easier to make a teacher out of a tradesman than it would be to make a tradesman out of a teacher.
But we've had a great relationship here as a vocational team. I don't know if you all still do it or not, you all still do that or not, but we would always meet every year at Christmas and have a get-together, and really good time of enjoyment.
And the friendships you build, whether it's with teachers or with students, it just continues to grow. And you go places and you go, oh, do you remember? And you just strike up that conversation, and you go back in time and you have a chance to sort of relive those days.
Favorite thing about working here is the people. I always say to this day, even to my own staff, if you invest in people, you will win no matter what. And if you truly, love the people you're working with, it's not a job. And we spend more time with our coworkers than we do at home a lot of time. So when you got a Jalen Bullitt next door, or Mr. Aldridge, Bill or Kevin Wigington, Mr. Billy Mackins, all those people that I work with, you're working and doing stuff so much together and everything that you just kind of become a family and learn to talk to them and learn, we know each other. We get to know each other on more than just a colleague professional relationship. It is truly a friendship that we get to know each other on. So that was the part I cherish most, and still enjoy to this day, is talking to those people when I get to see them and get the opportunity to be around them.
What's made this place, the Career and Technical Center, so special to me also is that, the 17 years I've been here as a teacher, which I kind of tell people I've been here my whole life, I guess, but the time I've been here as a teacher and I know I've heard Mr. Ford say this before in talking with other people about the Career and Technical Center, Mr. Hartley as well, but we're a very tight-knit group over here.
It's family.
Unlike anything at the high school, elementary school, the teachers that are over here, it's that team that he's talking about, that teamwork, that we just get behind stuff together and we work as a team. And, I'll tell students sometimes, you're not always going to like everybody you work with, but I'm thinking, well, I like everybody I work with. But in some jobs you wouldn't, but working here has always been like a tight-knit group. We're all family, and everybody just works together for the common goal. And I think a lot of that goes back to the clubs, that we're sponsoring a club and we're working as a team with it, and we just do the same here. And that's why my time here, I'm always thinking about the family, the group of people that, if something happens, they're the first people to call you.
But it was kind of like a family atmosphere. You become part of that family for that class for that year because you have those longer blocks of time, and it's just a special place.
I've worked with a lot of directors, and they were all dedicated professionals, wonderful teachers. We were a family. We enjoyed each other. We had a good time. We would share lunch together, and the men would bring all kinds of food that they had killed or caught. So we experienced a good time together as a family.
The one thing about the CTE Center is that it's a very close-knit family. It is a family atmosphere, and I know everybody says that, we're a family, but it truly is here. And one of the things, too, I can attribute that to is, I believe in the time I was here, I didn't have to hire too many teachers. And that's because of the support that teachers have here from each other, the camaraderie they have from here. People don't want to leave here. They want to teach here for a long time because it is such a wonderful place to work.
And one thing to me that sets New Albany School of Career and Technical Education apart is just our family atmosphere. We truly are a family. Our employees are very close-knit. Our students are very close-knit. It's very interesting to see that you will have students that will come from 5 different high schools who have never met each other, and within a very short period of time they realize that they are a member of the CTE family. So there's just, when you walk into this building, I had a student tell me not too long ago, she said, Ms. Hobson, when I walk in this building, I feel at home. And that's the way that, in my opinion, all of us feel. But that is also, we want students, when they walk into the Career and Technical Center, we want them to feel like, this is their home.